Hello and welcome. I'm Marianne, and today we are going to be continuing our series in restorative yoga. This time, most of our session will be on our feet in a standing position. So, the first pose we come into whenever we practice yoga in a standing position is typically mountain. So mountain involves the symmetry of the joints. So my friends, I invite you to come to a standing position with your feet under your hips. You can even look down. Your hips in line with your ribs and shoulders, and your earlobes over your collarbone. I invite you to claim every inch of your height and roll the shoulders back and down, turning your palms to face forward so that we are able to squeeze the shoulder blades together and get more space between the breastbone and the navel. Our tailbone is lifted up slightly, but not completely. Or is it tucked under? We want to be in the middle. We want to be able to feel the earth beneath us. So, if you have shoes on, you might want to take them off, and or maybe even the socks. Looking at our feet, we can see that they are on parallel lines, with about a fist distance for the ladies, 2 for the gentlemen between them. Our toes right now are pointing toward the camera, and our heels are pointing toward the back of the room. We start to sway so that we can feel the length of the feet. We try to sway along the center line of the feet. So it's an imaginary line that starts probably somewhere between the second and third toe and runs down the center of the foot through the center of the heel. Now let's sway side to side, finding that other center point across the width. And then we start to move into a circular clockwise direction, feeling the 4 corners of the feet, and then counter. Nice. Now let's come to the 4 corners of the feet, my friends, and let's pick up all 10 toes. So we can look. We want to try to get space between them. So finding your fingers, creating space between them. We want to duplicate this in the toes. And then we'll place 1 toe at a time down on our mat. And then do it again. Lift up. Now, can we lift the arches this time and grow even taller? And then place 1 at a time back down. That's a little trickier. Now sway and see what happens. Notice if we're covering a little more ground. All right, so there's our setup. There's our mountain pose, standing up. We're going to move a little bit now. So as we inhale, take the arms, reach for the sky, palms together. And then as we exhale, bend the elbows and the knees. This is chair. Inhale, we reach. Exhale, we bend. Now we don't need to sit down very far in our chair. This is restorative, so we want to kind of stay in a neutral alignment of the spine here. Now we'll hold it here. Shoulders rolling up, back, and down. And then let's just lift the right heel, finding those quads, but noticing the openness in the front of the body. And then slowly lower and switch. Slowly lower and switch. 1 more set. Spread the toes this time. Slowly lower and switch. Spreading those toes. Good. Let's slowly lower, standing up. Now, reaching up with both arms, separating the palms, and then we'll take the left hand to the left thigh and lean over. This is called half moon pose. It's a lateral spine stretch, my friends. So you're stretching from the fingertips all the way down to those ankles. Let's windmill the arms and go the other way. Feel that stretch. Feeling those ribs open, creating space in the torso. Now let's move to swaying palm. So imagine we are a palm tree on a beautiful beach, and a gentle breeze comes along and sways our branches side to side. And of course, we are breathing. So inhaling as we reach up with the arms, exhaling as we lean to the side. Last set. All right. Now, we'll come back, bringing our arms up, palms together. Let's bend the knees and elbows. See if we can sit in that chair again. Shoulders rolling up, back, and down. Now, let's lift just the left heel. See if we can get any more of a stretch in that quad and in those toes. Slowly switch. Good. Let's do one more round. Getting more space in the feet, more space in between the toes. Good. All right. Let's lengthen our legs. And we're going to take our feet a little wider than the hips. Soften our knees. So not a complete bend, but definitely a softening. Let's bring the arms to the sides and give them a shake. Moving into rotation. This is called beating the drum. So from the center of the torso, move to the right and then to the left. Now, if the feet aren't in quite the right position, you want to move them. Start to move with a little momentum and start to let the arms kind of flail. And then start to exhale as we look around at the back of the room. This is rotation, my friends. And if you want a little more, start to take a hand to the shoulder, a hand to the back of the hip. And then exhale as you look around the corner, beating the drum. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. All right, let's shake it out. All right, now try this. Taking our feet just a little wider, let's bring our heels in and our toes out. Moving to goddess. So goddess is a neutral alignment of the spine. Let's take our hands and find those thighs and open them just a little and bend our knees. We don't need to bend very far. What we want to keep is the tailbone tucked under. Instead of allowing it to lift, we want to keep that pelvic tilt so that the tail's pointing down to the floor. This is goddess. It's for the quads. It's also a very neutral alignment of the spine. And we want to play with where our edge is. So the edge is the place where we are challenged, yet not overwhelmed. We're going to pair it with that lateral spine stretch, my friends. But before we do, let's make sure we can shift side to side and up and down. So once we find that sweet spot, our edge, we're going to move to that lateral spine stretch. So left forearm to the thigh. Right arm reaches up and we lean. Same thing we did earlier in half moon. Shoulder comes to the wall behind us. And then if we want, we can add rotation in the neck. But again, we don't have to. We could smile for the camera or even look at the earth. See if we can windmill the arms here. Ooh, going the other way. Little more intensity here. If it's too much, come up. If we want more, sink lower. Now we'll try to take it to one breath, one movement, like we did in the half moon and the swaying palm. There we are. So trying to remain stationary in the lower body, allowing the upper body to move independently. set. All right, come on up. Let's take our hands to our hips and just lengthen our legs and bring our feet to parallel lines. So we're a little wider now. Pushing down into the outer edges of the feet. So we try to avoid allowing the arches to collapse. That's a little exaggerated, but we really want to roll to the outer edges and lift those arches. Hands on the hips, lift the chest, shoulders roll up, back and down, and then hinge and come forward to your edge. You do not have to touch the floor. If you had a chair or the couch or a table, you could reach out. Long neck. If you wanted to, you could touch the floor, but you don't have to. We want to feel the tailbone lift. You can even stay right here, lifting that tail slightly so that we feel that stretch in the hamstring, the back of the legs, rolling to the outer edges of the feet. We're protecting the ankles, the knees, and the back. Always. That always comes first, my friends. Safety over form, and form over range. We do not want to go somewhere that our body is telling us to stay away from, at least for now. We can go back and revisit at another time. All right, come on up. Let's heel toe the feet in and come back to the mountain. Bringing our feet back under our hips, shoulders roll up, back and down. Let's see if we can stand a little taller. Now we do want to try to take the spine into a little bit of extension so that we can find neutral a little easier, right? So we don't want to live here. We want to live here. But in order to do that, we want to open up these muscles right here, engage in a little shoulder extension in a very restorative way. So let's take our hands behind us and either grab our wrists, forearms, or if we can, the elbows, supporting the lower back with the arms, squeezing our buns, squeezing our shoulder blades. Let's lift from the center of the chest. Notice how we're not lifting from the chin. We're lifting from the breastbone. This is a standing cobra, but it's a variation that is much more restorative. We still get the openness across the chest, but we get a much more relaxed stretch and extension in the shoulders. You may have seen it here, and you're welcome to come here. But for our purposes today, we really want to focus on restoring the body and the mind. Nice. All right, level the chin, bend the knees. Now lift the heel closest to the camera, or whichever one you choose. Step back and stay on parallel lines with your feet. Pushing down into the earth, let's come forward until we find the edge. So there's that hamstring stretch. We don't have to go any further, even if we just stayed here and shifted our weight slightly. We want to make sure our hips are square, back's protected, shoulder blades squeezing, and then we just gradually allow the pose to take shape. Good, let's push down into our feet, slow rise, step in, and switch. So soft knees, lift just the opposite heel, step back, 12 to 18, maybe it's even closer to 10 for you, but not beyond 18. We want to be able to stay on the parallel lines to keep our hips in neutral. Inhaling as we stand up a little taller, creating space in the torso. Exhaling as we come forward and we breathe. Keeping in mind, hips square, spine long, legs long. Finding the edge, my friends, wherever that is. All right, come on up. Beautiful. Let's step in. We'll come back to the mountain. So mountain is our root pose. It's the pose from which most, if not all, standing poses originate. We want to be able to sway, and maybe this time we start to lift our heels and toes. All right. Now, let's come back to the chair. So as we inhale, we reach. As we exhale, we bend and bend. How does it feel now? We're going to add a little bit of rotation to the chair. So, sinking as low as our body will allow, engaging the quads, finding the midsection. Pushing the palms together, thumbs to the breastbone. Let's swivel the ribs to the corner of the room. Feeling it right here in the abs. Now, if we want to, lift just your left heel. Sink a little lower. We don't have to. You could stay here. Your choice. Good. Lower that heel. If it's elevated, come back to center. Take a breath. Maybe drop a little lower. Now swivel to the left. Just to the corner. Notice how the head doesn't go anywhere. It's coming from the ribs, coming from the midsection. If it feels okay, let's try lifting the opposite heel. See if we can drop deeper into this quad. Where's our breath, my friends? Is it in the quads? In the abs? Beautiful. Come on back, facing forward. Stay in the chair. One more breath. Very nice. Let's stand up nice and tall, coming back to our mountain. Now let's stand a little taller, see if we can get a little more openness across the chest. Wiggling our fingers a little bit, maybe swaying, wiggling our toes, whatever works. All right, let's shake it out. Let's come down to the earth. So let's slowly have a seat so we can twist. So coming to a cross-legged position, right leg dominant. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's take our left forearm to our left thigh or shin. Our right finger's behind us. Notice how your midsection is nice and open. From the base, from the midsection, from the pelvic area, twist. Then the midsection, twist. Then the shoulders, twist. Then the neck, the head, and the gaze. We can apply pressure from the forearm to the thigh, never the knee. Thigh, calf, drawing that navel in and up. If we want that little bit of added intensity, take your left hand to your right thigh and come slightly deeper. But again, the twist of the spine is still very much here in our open twist. When we close, we engage a little bit more of the abs. We make it just a slight bit more intense. Totally up to you. Now try this. Come back to center, keeping your hand here or returning to here. Reach up with this arm and then lean. So if we're here, we can apply a little pressure to the thigh. Again, never the knee. It's that lateral spine stretch. Or if we're here, it makes it a little bit more intense. Totally up to you. All right, taking that right hand, reach forward, fish out the left arm, and take your walk. Maneuvering in the hips. Finding the breath, sending it into the hips, and then surrendering. Let's slowly roll up. Fingers behind us, rock back. Let's switch sides. So let's gently undo and redo. Same thing. Starting with the open twist, the forearm, pressure on the thigh, the calf in that area. the left fingertips behind. So we allow these fingertips to push the floor away so we can sit nice and tall. Moving from the pelvic area, we twist to the left, ribs, chest, shoulders, neck, head, gaze, looking around the corner. And if we want to, that's when we do the crossover for more. Keeping in mind, nothing is ever straining. There's no pain. Keep breathing, my friends, into your twist. All right, come on back, facing forward, staying here, or with the crossover, let's reach up, left arm, and then we'll lean. Finding that lateral spine stretch, taking a breath into the long side of the body here. Freeing up space in the ribs, in the hip area. Very nice. Now reach forward, left, and then right. Find the edge. All right, let's roll up. Hands behind us, rock back. Let's extend our legs and give them a healthy shake. So let's bend the knees and dig our heels into our mat, like this. And then we'll reach up and then drape the body over the bent knees. Now, if we want a little more intensity, we could start to lengthen the legs. If we want a little less intensity, we could bring the heels closer or even place the feet on the floor. This is a position of rest. It also opens the spine, stretches out the lumbar, starts to stretch into the hamstrings depending upon where the legs are. So we find what works for us and we breathe very deeply. Then slowly rolling up, let's extend our legs into staff pose. So staff pose has long legs, long spine. Let's take our fingers behind us, just the fingertips, pushing into the earth, lifting the chest, breathing. Notice how our chin is still level. We're not here, maybe slightly elevated, but we have space for the throat, but we're lifting from the center of the chest, pushing into the earth, and we'll try now to push both legs down into the mat, kneecaps up into the thighs, maybe lifting those heels, curling our toes back and breathing in the staff. Notice if there's tension in the face and the jaw, and we try to get rid of it. All right, let's shake it out. Let's bend our knees, and then we'll lie down. So gliding our glutes forward, making sure we have space, and we'll lie down. All right, so let us find one more pose here. Arms come across from the shoulders, and then we'll lower our knees to the camera. Now, if it's uncomfortable, a couple things we can do. We can separate our feet, right? We could bring our feet closer. Easy twist is what this is called. And then we can pick up the head and we'll gently look the other way, keeping our chest facing the sky, our shoulder blades on the floor, surrendering. And then head to center, feet to the mat, hips to the earth, and then go the other way. So lowering the thighs to the back of the room, gently picking up the head, looking beyond our front fingertips, or smiling for the camera, or closing our eyes. Either way, we want to melt into the earth. All right, head to center. Now let's heel toe the feet in, and we'll extend our legs into Shavasana. So here we are, the ultimate in restoration. Maneuvering the body. Now try this. Let's squeeze our tailbone and engage the entire lower body, tensing it up, and then release. Squeeze the shoulder blades, tense the upper body, and release. Tense up the arms and make a fist, and release. Tense up the face, and release. And then we'll lower one ear at a time to the earth. And then we'll center the head, tuck the chin, close the eyes, close the mouth, my friends. Settle back into the breath. Letting go physically and mentally. Letting go of the past and the future. Surrendering to our breath, assuming nothing. Now, as always, we are welcome to stay in Shavasana for as long as we like. But if we're ready to return, we begin to wiggle our fingers and toes. Rolling our ankles and wrists. Maneuvering the body. Whatever feels good. Giving a bend to the back knee. Let's connect the foot to the mat and we'll roll over to the camera. Pushing the mat away, let's help ourselves up and find a cross-legged position. Hands to Anjali Mudra, thumbs to the heart. Drawing in one more breath, we hold it inside the body, connecting to the heart, beating in the chest. Perhaps setting an intention, large or small, for this day. As we exhale, we gently bow the head. And in closing, joining together in saying Shanti 3 times. Shanti, 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 meaning peace. Have a peaceful day. Namaste.